The rise and fall of the narcissist. Think about that for a minute. So the narcissist, in your eyes, they were the be-all, end-all. You were doing everything you could to appease them, to make them satisfied, to please them. Remember, you were the unpaid helper. You were the walking apology. You were the sounding board. You were the person who regulated the narcissist. You were there always for them, no matter if you were physically with them or if you were connected on a cell phone. You were the person who was doing everything for them, unbeknownst to yourself. Simultaneously, your whole world was falling apart. You see, the narcissist took everything from you they possibly could, and they left you a shell of yourself. They took every hope, dream, aspiration, goal, the promise of today, tomorrow, and the future. They lived in your mind rent-free. They trapped you, they tricked you, they manipulated you, they brainwashed you. Should I go on? No, I'll stop. This is why these relationships all end with one person reeling and that person healing and that person having to really slow their life down and put themselves back together, and the other person just effortlessly slithering off elsewhere onto new sources of supply. You know who you are. You are the former. You're the person who had to heal. You're the person who was taken advantage of. You were the person who didn't know about narcissism, and you were the person who was trapped in that narcissistic fog, spinning around over and over and over again. You could never, ever come up to catch your breath of air, because as soon as you thought you had an idea of what was taking place, the narcissist would smother you again, either with a love bomb or with the silent treatment or with another endless to-do list, which never, and I mean never, ended. As soon as you would have one endless to-do list accomplished, you would be given two more. Once you would finish one of those two, you'd be given three more, on and on and on. This is why each and every one of these relationships with a narcissist, they all have an expiration date. Each and every one of these relationships leaves one person left holding the bag. Each and every one of these relationships does a lot of damage to one person. That is why once you get the wisdom, you need to take this extremely seriously, and you need to go no contact and block that person. You need to delete them, remove them, and all flying monkeys and people associated with them. If not now, when? Now again, I've shared this for years. If you can't do it right now, I understand. You have to get ready to create, develop, and when you are prepared, execute your exit plan. More and more people all over the globe are not only getting the message with creating, developing, and the key here is executing their exit plan than ever before. In the past, I shouldn't say nobody, but very few people knew what an exit plan was. You probably thought what an exit plan was when you were getting ready to leave a job or an occupation. And you probably were looking at the calendar saying, yes, in 3 more months I'll retire. In 5 more months I get my pension. In 10 more months, whatever, etc. It could be years, whatever it was. Well, that's with a job. And that's how you were taught. Well, you didn't realize you'd be doing that to save your life, jettisoning or removing yourself from a toxic, life-threatening, debilitating, challenging, narcissistic relationship. But that's what I've done, and whether you know it or not, that's either what you've done or that's what you will do. Because the longer you are connected to said person, the more damage will be done to you. That's not speculation, that is a fact. Every single person who encounters the narcissist is fooled by them, is manipulated by them, and many people will never know what you know about the narcissist. Truth be told, very few will ever know what you know. The reason you know what you know is because you got so close to them. You saw the inner world that they have. You saw how they fall apart when they don't get their way. You saw how they blow up a dinner when there are 3 ice cubes in their drink instead of 2. You saw how they could give you the silent treatment on a 4-hour ride to the beach when you were driving and you were steaming and fuming and beet red and they weren't talking to you, but yet they were on one of their 3 smartphones, giggling it up, laughing it up, ignoring you. However, at the same time, telling you when you missed the left turn or you missed a right turn or you're running low on gas. Think about what I'm mentioning to you. The narcissist knows exactly, and I do mean exactly, what they're doing. And a long time ago, they had free run over the planet. Many people believe that, oh, they're broken, they have problems, or don't call them the narcissist, or you don't know what it's like to be in their shoes. Well, that song and dance played out until when? You nailed it. Until it doesn't any longer. And when it doesn't, it's when people like you and certainly myself finally get the message. We've seen that song and dance over and over and over again, and we realize over time that nothing changes. These people just get worse over time. They all become the aging narcissist. They all become decrepit and they fall apart. They all become blabbering I almost said it, but I didn't. And they all think that they're 20 years old when in fact they are 50, 60, 70 or upwards because they're holding on to their youth. Side note, pro tip, if you don't know what Peter Pan syndrome is, I strongly suggest you look it up. Grok it. Take a look at Peter Pan syndrome. I can assure you, you will go ding, ding, ding off the nugget of wisdom comment. Why it all falls apart for the narcissist and the rise and the fall of the narcissist is this, and I'm referring to you specifically, not everybody else. I'm referring to you. When you met that person, you thought that they were perhaps the love of your life, the yin to your yang, your soulmate, the person who completed you, and you thought that they were everything, the be-all, end-all. Well, that's what they wanted you to think. Truth be told, they were love bombing you. And once they knew that they did not have to love bomb you any longer, enter the second part of the narcissistic abusive cycle, which is the devaluation stage. This is when you can do no right. As a matter of fact, you're doing everything wrong. This is when the narcissist is triangulating you, ignoring you, ghosting you, blaming you, asking for more money, slamming the door in your face, walking 30 feet in front of you, giving you the silent treatment, having their phone turned off, claiming that they don't have reception. Should I go on? I'll slow down. Once the devaluation stage has been set, and the narcissist knows somebody is there, which is the second part of the narcissistic abusive cycle, they begin to really pull back, take that person for granted, and begin to start searching for said person's replacement. Now, when I say replacement, I'm not specifically referring to a long-term narcissistic relationship. Remember, the narcissist gets supply from anything, from getting a coffee in the coffee shop, from giving somebody the middle finger in the freeway, and you shouldn't be doing that, from hanging up on somebody, from claiming that they were innocent, naive, and they didn't know any better, from crocodile tears, from you name it. That's how the narcissist gets supply. But when you realize that as far as you are concerned right now for this video, you thought that they were everything to you. As a matter of fact, you probably thought you couldn't live without them. Yes, guilty as charged. And a prime example of the trauma bond. Now you may say, what is the trauma bond? I've heard a little bit about that, but I really don't know what it is. Number one, I suggest you grok it. Number two, if you were in it, you would know it. Number three, if you found my channel, there is a very high likelihood that you were either caught up in the trauma bond or somebody you know was caught up or perhaps still is. I was in it for years. I didn't even know what it was. I had no idea where I was. I was existing. I wasn't living. I was trying to put out fires that were being started deliberately and on purpose and intentionally at the hands of the narcissist and flying monkeys and enablers everywhere. And I was a human pinata being spun around in that washing machine of abuse. I had no idea. I can assure you, you didn't either. But now you're getting the wisdom, and now you're understanding that not only are you the priority, that you come first, second, and third, but that there's no room in your life for toxicity. Now, going back to the thumbnail, as I shared with you, the rise and fall of the narcissist, when you were love bombed, the reason you were love bombed is because they were grooming you. They were teaching you how they wanted you to behave. They were teaching you they didn't want you to have a voice, but yet they wanted access to your money. They were teaching you they didn't want you to have an opinion. You were expected to listen to their opinion. They were teaching you that there were going to be two sets of rules. One set of rule for you and the other set for them, which means they could do whatever they wanted to, but you couldn't do anything at all, which means you couldn't make a decision to save your life. That's why when you're in the devaluation stage and you don't know what you're up against, you are not only vulnerable, naive, wearing your heart on a sleeve, but you are being peppered with abuse. Third part of the narcissistic relationship, you should know by now, it's the ending of the relationship. Usually it ends via discard. If you were discarded, my heart goes out to you. If you ended it yourself, my heart still goes out to you. And remember, the fourth part, at times with certain creatures, i.e. dark energy sources, meaning narcissists, there is a hoover at times. Many people do not get hoovered. You do not want to be hoovered. Become unhooverable. Get off the radar of the narcissist and stay away from them as far as you possibly can, and do it as fast as you can, because the hoover doesn't mean they want to get back with you. It simply means they're testing the temperature of you to see if you've healed and to see if you've seen behind the mask and to see how strong you are. So now going back to what I was sharing with you, I'm referencing your experience. When you thought they were your be-all, end-all, and they were the yin to your yang and your soulmate and all those things, again, that was intentional. But as that body of the relationship withered away and went on, you realized that they had a lot of problems. Although you probably didn't stand up to them that often, you probably were being silenced or you didn't voice your opinion. even though you most likely had dozens, hundreds, maybe even thousands of opportunities to say things, but you didn't dare do that because if you did it, you knew that you would be punished again. Another example of the vortex, which is the narcissistic abusive cycle. Now, having said that, once that relationship ended, no matter how it ended or when it ended, you were reeling, you were stuck, you were isolated, you were trapped, you were literally left for you know what, and you didn't know what narcissism was most likely. This is the most pivotal part of your entire journey on this narcissistic abusive cycle experience. You figured out what narcissism is. Most people will never figure it out, but because you did, then you wrapped your head around what gaslighting was, what triangulation was, smear campaign, on and on. Then you realize, wait a minute, that person wasn't the love of my life. They were from hell. They were from the underworld. They were a creature that tried to destroy me from the inside out, from the outside in, sideways, upside down, any way possible. They did their best to crush me like a grape, and they tried relentlessly to destroy me. That's when you realize the fall of the narcissist. It's because you finally see who they are. You understand that not everything on this planet is how it appears to be, and not every person is who they appear to be. And at the top of that list is the narcissist. So the rise and the fall, I'm referencing not a global experience of the narcissist, although you could say the same thing. I'm referencing your experience with the person you're considering. In the beginning, you thought they were the best thing that ever happened to you, the best thing since sliced bread. At the end, mainly right now when you're consuming this video, as I'm creating it, you realize that they have a huge fall from grace. And they were never in grace. What they did is they absorbed your energy and you took them as high as you possibly could because you are the beautiful, bright, shining light. They could not get where you took them without your fuel, without your energy, without your authenticity. And then, once they discarded you, all that energy went back into yourself and your healing. The narcissist doesn't have access to you any longer. So what will they be doing? They'll be flailing. And they will still be saying to themselves, scratching their balding head, their aging face, their wrinkled, wither up eyelids, and they'll be saying, how the heck did that person break free? How did they get away? How are they looking so good? How are they falling in love again? How are they so clear with their words? How are they so clear with their thoughts and their mindset? How did they rebuild? I don't get it. I did everything I possibly could. I enlisted an army of flying monkeys enablers. I had everybody swarm around them and do their best to destroy this person's life, which was yours. But they're still here. That's why the narcissist rise will always fall, because what goes up must go down. And the narcissist is a low vibrational creature. They're not high vibrational. If you think for a minute they are, you need to play this video 1,000 times over. They're low vibrational. And you may say, well, what is low vibrational compared to high vibrational? Well, let's just think for a minute. The higher you elevate, the thinner the air is. The thinner the air is, the more rarefied the air is. The rarefied air, the better the view. The better the view, the clearer the air is. The clearer the air is, the clearer the view is, and the higher you can fly and soar and elevate. Those are places where the narcissist can't get to. Where the narcissist goes is they lurk and creep and pillage in the darkness. They hide around corners and they spy on people via social media, flying monkeys, enablers, and everything. And that's why the rise and fall of the narcissist, it is not only inevitable, it has happened multiple times. It's probably happening again right now. You see, the narcissist cannot sustain or maintain any relationship. And that goes with their kids, their stepkids, their spouses, their siblings, their parents, their friends, their besties, their colleagues, coworkers, neighbors, roommates, teachers, classmates. Should I go on? I won't. The narcissist is a sinking ship, and they know what they're doing. If they don't have access to you, that is a good thing. If they have access to you, you need to ask yourself, what are you waiting for? Why are you not going no contact? These creatures will never change. They're only deteriorating, and they will take anybody down for the count in that vortex from hell with them. Yeah, I've said hell 4 or 5 times. Yeah, and this week I probably said it 7 or 8 times. I'll slow it down again. I'm trying to hammer home going into this holiday weekend in the United States that you need to take this very seriously. Play the video, play it multiple times. The rise and fall of the narcissist, the rise was because of you. The fall was because of them. They will always fall flat on their face. They will always overplay their hand. They will always cut off their nose to spite their face. They will always think they're smarter than you, more intelligent, more handsome, more attractive, more beautiful, more everything. You know what they are? They're nothing but pathetic, anxiety-riddled people that are afraid of their own shadow, and they know it. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon. I love you all, and I'll talk with you tomorrow. A few quick things. One, recognize that the rise and fall of the narcissist, this video was meant to let you understand your experience, not what other people think. Your experience, how in your eyes you saw, and how you propped them up and made them the most important thing in your universe and in your life. The reason you did that, and I did the same, is because they groomed you to do that. That's why it happened. That's why these people brainwashed you, manipulated you, had you drinking the Kool-Aid, and as soon as they knew that they had their dirty fangs sunken into you, it was game, set, match, advantage narcissist. Until when? Ding, ding, ding. Until you broke the cycle. And once you break the cycle, you need to understand that you are stronger than you know, and you will never, and I mean never, entertain toxicity ever again. I love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Bye.